What is going on, guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another PS4 tutorial. So in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to mod games using PS4 Cheater. So basically, if there's a game that you want to mod or you want to make cheats for or have access to cheats for, but there is no trainer for that specific game, or maybe the mod that you're wanting is not in a trainer, then you can basically find your own mods for games and make your own mods for games, basically using PS4 Cheater, which is essentially Cheat Engine. If you've used Cheat Engine on PC before, it's basically the same premise as that, except it works with your PS4, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can find your own cheats for your games using this software. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and download it. I'll link it in the description. Just extract it to a folder and run the exe. And then obviously you want to put in the IP address of your PS4. So if I switch over to the PS4 here, you want to head to settings and go down to network and view connection status. And the fourth one down is your IP address. And so note that down. Put that IP address into the box up here in PS4 Cheater, and then on the PS4 we're going to go and run the internet browser and head to our exploit page and run the bin loader and wait for it to say waiting for payload or awaiting payload. There we go. And then click the send payload button on the PC, and you won't get a notification on the PS4, but you will get a notification on the tool down at the bottom that says payload injected successfully. So that's how you know it works. So at that point you can just run your game, but obviously if your game is a fake package file game, then you're going to have to also run the homebrew enabler. So I'm just going to run that here as well, and hope that it doesn't crash, because running two payloads back to back is never great. And now we're going to run the game. So I'm going to do God of War. Even though I know that there is a really good trainer for God of War in the PS4 trainer by Tyler Mods, there's probably one in the community trainer as well, but just using this as an example. So just pretend that this game doesn't have a trainer or anything for it, and we're going to try and make our own mods for the game here, find our own cheats. Okay, so here we are in the game. So if I pause it, let's try and find a value that's that should be fairly straightforward to find, hopefully, which is the hack silver, because that's basically our currency in the game, right? You buy stuff with hack silver. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and refresh the processes, and then from the drop down menu you want to select the game's executable, which is normally eboot.bin. So, and only do this once you've actually launched the game, because then eboot.bin will appear, and you want to select that process. Now, it's not always going to be called eboot.bin, it depends on the game. Most games use eboot.bin as the main executable. Some games like Call of Duty have like default.elf or defaultmp.elf or something like that. But most games it's eboot.bin. So then we're going to select all the sections of memory that show up for this process, because we want to make sure that we can, we cover everything. And then we're going to search for the value, which is 9,670. So I'm going to do 9,670, 4-byte value, which it probably is. Most integers tend to be stored as 4 bytes. I mean, it could be a 2-byte, but most of the time, in my experience, it's normally stored as a 4-byte value. What we're going to do is we're going to go exact value, because we know the value that we're searching for. It's 9,670. That's the exact value that we're looking for. And then we're going to go ahead and do a first scan. And this is going to be the longest scan that we do for the game, basically, because what we're also doing by doing this first scan is we're trying to find out what sections of memory the game uses to store these values. So once we find roughly what sections of memory these kind of values are stored, then we don't need to select all the sections the next time we search for something, because we'll know which sections of memory generally this kind of stuff is stored in. Okay, so the search finished and it only found 6 results, which is Not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to find more so that I could give you a good example here. But I guess, 9,670, a bit of a weird value. It's probably not going to show up that much in the game. But how do we know which one it is? Well, we can narrow down the search results even more. Now, because it only found 6, you really don't need to. You could just go through each one by one, set the value to something else and see if it changes. But, what if it found 100 values? Then you would need to narrow down those values, get rid of all the false positives. So the way we do that is we change the value in the game. So all I have to do is buy something, which will put my my hack silver down. So let's buy this. Do not equip. Okay, so now if I go back to the pause screen, we now have 6,470. So all I have to do is change this to 6,470, do a next scan, and then that will search through those same 6 values to see which ones have gone from 9,670 to 6,470. Oh, one result, there we go. So it's got to be this one. So if we go ahead and right click and add to cheat list, I can then edit the value by changing it. So let's do 99999, enter. It's not going to change in game until we refresh by unpausing and repausing. Yep, there we go. It has changed. So we've found that value. So we've literally modded the game ourselves without a dedicated mod tool, and we found that value. And you can actually save this list to a file. So if you find like 10 different things, you can save it to a file so that you can load it back up again and edit the values without having to research for everything. So we found that value, hack silver, fairly simple. Now XP, if I want to mod the XP, it's likely that it's probably in the same location in memory as hack silver because it's stored in the same place in the UI, and it's kind of similar. XP, the way you earn XP, the way you earn hack silver, they're kind of both treated as a currency in a way. So it's likely that they'll be stored in the same section of memory. This wad_r_pem, this one here. So if I do another search for the XP, instead of searching through all the processes, which takes forever, I can just search in this one section of memory where we found the hack silver, and it's likely that we'll find the XP in the same place. So let's search for XP, which is 6638. So 6638, again 4-byte value most likely because same as hack silver. And then we'll do a new scan, and we'll do a first scan just in that section of memory. So we've got 2 values, which is pretty good. So it's most likely one of these. So let's add the first one, add to cheat list, and let's just change this slightly to 65. Pause. Nope, that one didn't change, so that's not it. So we'll delete that one, we'll add the second one, add to cheat list. Hopefully it's this one, I'm just gonna go for it. Yep, there we go, that's it, we found it. So we found XP and hack silver. Hack silver took a while, but once we found the section of memory where that's stored, you can find other values in that same section of memory quite easily. So we've modded our XP and our hack silver. So that's fair enough, and obviously there's plenty of other things in this game that we could find. Obviously I don't want the video to be like, half an hour long, so I'm not going to go through all of these different things, but there's resources, how much traveler's armor shards you have, and there's rusted armor, all of this stuff you can search for. Obviously the values that have 0 is going to be pretty much impossible to find unless you earn some in the game, and then you can search for the difference. But yeah, so we could modify these as well, or if we found something that we have a lot of, like mist echoes for example, 2,416, if we found the location of that value for the mist echoes, then it's likely that all of this stuff as well will be in the same section of memory. So we could probably just look in hex editor for those other values and find all of these. So yeah, you can definitely find a lot of stuff in here. So moving on to something that's a bit more complicated. Okay, so this time we're going to search for health. Now health is going to be a little bit more complicated because it's represented by a bar, not a number, and typically things that use bars or that have like a recharge or a cooldown time, they're normally represented by floats. So we're going to search for, we're going to do a new scan and we're going to search for a float instead of a 4-byte. And then also we're going to go and select basically all of these sections here. So this is where it found the hack silver and the XP in. It was this section of memory. So WAD_R_PEM. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of these. It's most likely that it's not going to be in the same section of memory because health is quite a bit different to hack silver. They're not in the same place in terms of the UI. So the chances of them being stored like in the same exact section of memory, still a chance, but I want to just make sure. So I'm going to do all of these WAD_Rs, every single one. Okay, there we go. So I've got all the WAD_Rs enabled because that seems to be sort of the sections where these where values and stuff for the game are stored. So we're going to go ahead and select all of those, and it's a float most likely. Now, thing about the health is we don't know the exact value. It does say HP up here is 278. So that's like the maximum health is 278. So I'm going to search for that value 278, which is right here. However, you would think that current health, like your current status of your health, would be this number, but it's actually not for some reason. So if I go and get hurt in the game here, you'll see, okay, so my health's gone down a bit, but when I pause, it still says 278 out of 278. So I'm not entirely sure what that value represents, but it definitely doesn't seem to represent my current value for my health, because that's clearly less than the maximum, but it's still showing 278 out of 278, so I don't know. But hopefully the maximum value is right, that's 278, so I'm gonna have to get my health back up to maximum again. If I just go up here, that should put my health back up. Yep, so we're on max health again. So let's go ahead and pause, and we're going to search for 278 as a float. First scan, I'm going to search through all of that section of memory. So again, it's probably going to take a little while, so I'll be back with you guys once it's finished. Alright, so we got back with how many results here? 13. So 13 results. Again, could go through one by one, but just to kind of show how you would do this if, again, you found like 1,000 results and you were trying to narrow it down. Basically, what we would do is we would go and get hurt in the game here. So we searched for the value as it is when we're on max health. So now I'll get hit and my value goes down, but I don't know what the value is now. So how are you supposed to narrow down the value if you don't know what the value is in the first place? So what you do is you go ahead and use another search method, which is increased or decreased by, or just increased or decreased, because you don't know how much it's increased or decreased by. So you just do decreased value because the health has gone down. So we know that it's 278 is the maximum and it has now gone down, but we don't know how much it's gone down. So all we're going to do is say that the value has decreased and then do next scan, and that will just filter out all the values that have not decreased and get rid of those. So the ones that have decreased, it will keep, and then that should hopefully narrow things down a bit more. Okay, so there we go. It's now filtered it down to 4 results, and that looks very convincing. 239, it's gone down to 239, so most likely one of these. How do we know which one it is? Well, we just try and edit the value and see. So let's set it back up to 278. Okay, it's not gone back up, but let's see if we get, oh no, it just updated there. You see that? See how it jumped up a tiny little bit there? That's the game doing that, and because that would have refreshed it and it hasn't gone up to maximum health, so that's not it. So we can get rid of that one. Let's try the next one here. Add to cheat list. Let's refresh because that's gone up a bit. Okay, so 278. Put that up to maximum. And oh, it's gone up. It's gone to maximum. That's it then. It must have just refreshed right there. Wait, let's see. Let's put it down to something lower, like 100. Ah, get out of the way. Yep, there you go. It just jumped down to 100. That's it. We found it. We found the value. So 278. So you might be thinking, okay, well, that's great. Found the value. How do we get infinite health? You know, I'm still gonna like take damage. I haven't. It's not God mode. It's just the value of the health. So what I can do though is I can lock the value. So if I do that, if I check the lock checkbox, what that's basically going to do is it's just going to keep writing 278 to that location in memory over and over again. Depends on the delay, how long it does it. But yeah, it's going to keep writing it. So that is basically infinite health, because every time I get hit, you will see the health go down, but after, you know, a second or so, it should go back up because it keeps setting that value, that 278 value, to that location. So I got hit, and then it just jumped back up again. There we go. So yeah, you can see it keeps jumping up. Maybe if I'm just going to let myself get attacked a few times so you can see how low the health goes. You can see it keeps jumping back up to maximum health. So it's effectively God mode. Yeah, so that's health. We found health as well. So the last thing we'll try and find here is going to be our rage, which is going to be considerably more difficult because as far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be anything here that tells you what the value of the rage currently is or what the maximum value of the rage is. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't looked through the menus. There might be. But again, you know, even if there is, let's just say there will be some games where it will not tell you what the value is. So to find the rage value, what we're going to do is we can kind of guess, because obviously XP, we found XP because it was in the same section as Hack Silver, and it's, you know, the same section in the UI as well in the top right. So I'm assuming that it's probably going to be the same for rage, because the meter is right underneath the health bar, and we found the health bar in this section of memory right here. So that is the section I'm going to select. So what we're going to do is, again, we don't know what the current value of the rage is. You know, it's just a bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for an unknown initial value. And again, a float, because again, just like the health bar, it is a bar. So it's most likely represented by a float. So I'm going to do first scan. And what it's going to do, because we're saying unknown initial value, it's just going to find any floats. So any floats, wow, that was fast. Any floats that have that exist anywhere in that memory, it's going to pick up. So that's why it found a lot of values there, a hell of a lot of values. It's going to be one of these values, but you know, we can't go through all of these one by one. So we have to narrow things down again. And so to do that, I guess I'll activate rage and let it go down a bit and then stop it. So now the value has gone down. We'll pause, and now we can do the same thing again where we say the value has decreased and do a next scan, and then it will compare all the floats it found in that first scan and check to see which ones have decreased. And there you go, it filters out all the rest. So now we're down to 91,000 results, which is still a lot of results, but that did narrow it down quite a bit. Let's do the same thing again, activate rage, put the meter down a bit more and pause, and then we'll say it's decreased again, next scan, and again it will filter any ones that have not decreased and it will get rid of those. 19,769, that has gone down again considerably, but I can't put the rage down anymore because I can't activate it again. So what I'll do is I'll put the rage up by increasing the meter. So yeah, you earn rage by just fighting enemies, so that should bring it up a little bit. So that's gone up again. So what I'm going to do is once again go ahead and pause. Now this time the value's increased, so we will just, instead of saying decreased value, we'll say increased value this time. Next scan. Again, that'll filter things out. Any value that has not increased will be filtered out. Oh, god damn it. There we go. I wanted to capture that, but I didn't expect it would go down that much. I've done about 10 or more, increase by, decrease by, or just increase, decreased, and it went from what was it at? It was at 800, so I wasn't expecting it to go down to 5 results after 800. So yeah, I wasn't recording at that point, my bad, but it has gone down to 5 results. So I would say probably this value, because 123, and if we look at this, you know, we know this bar here, if it's using the same metric, we know this bar here is 278. So if this is about 200, then halfway would be 100. That might be 123. It's quite likely, more likely than 2.0, 0.5, 0.1. It's probably this one. This one looks the most likely, so I'm going to add this one in, and I'm going to put it up to, let's do 200. See if that is the maximum value for it. So let's activate rage. Yep, that did it. That did it. That put it up. And then if we go to the tool and we refresh, it's gone down to 160. So yeah, the max value is 200. Now that I know that, you know, if I was searching for it again, I would search for 200 in the first place. Obviously, some things are just represented by a bar where they increase or decrease, and you have to use unknown initial value and then decrease value, increase value. You might have to do it several times, 10 times, 15 times, until you narrow it down and find it. But once you found it, you found it, and you can save it. So obviously, if I want infinite rage now, I just put this to 200, and then I lock it just like I did with health. And now when I activate rage, it's basically infinite now, because every time it goes down, the tool sets the value back to 200, so it's infinite, which again is what you see in that Tyler Mods trainer. So yeah, that's basically it. That is how you create your own cheats, your own mods for your PS4 games. So if there's any game that you want to mod and there is no trainer for that game, or you know, there is a trainer for the game but it doesn't have the specific cheat that you want, then have a go at trying to find it yourself. You might be able to do it. It does take time. I'm not gonna like lie and say that it's easy. I did cut quite a lot in this video, where I was just like, especially trying to find that rage value. I was increase, decrease, increase, decrease like 10, 12 times to narrow it down enough. So it does take a lot of time. That is basically how you go ahead and make your own cheats, your own mods for your games. Hope you guys enjoyed the video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos on PS4 modding. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.